Hello. Hello, I am back. Oh. Hello. I am back with part 2 of Love with the Enemy, ZADR, Invader Zim X Dib. So I'll keep this short and simple. This is not mine. The owner of this fanfiction will be down in the description. Chapter 3, Friends. Enjoy. Dib was heading over to Zim's house/base. He was extremely nervous for how today would go. Today, he would have to teach his new crush how to learn classes all day. Before he knows it, Dib arrives at his front lawn. Zim was already waiting outside to make sure the gnomes didn't shoot their lasers at him. Dib smiled nervously. "Hey Zim," the teen states. "Hello, Dib, human," Zim says. The two nod and head inside together. Gur is slapping makeup all over his metal face. Aww. Both show looks of concern with one another and head into the lab. Also, quick warning, this chapter has fluff, so please don't kill me. Both went down in the elevator together since it was remodeled. Dib felt embarrassed since he was so close to Zim. Their shoulders were practically touching. The human begins blushing. Zim quickly takes notes of this and speaks. "Dibstink, are you blushing?" Zim asks. Dib grits his teeth, trying to hold back his urges. He began breathing in and out, but what set him over the edge is what Zim said. Next. "Because I am too," Zim said in a seductive tone. "I can't do that." That was it. He couldn't control himself. He moves closer to Zim's face, looking at his lips and then his eyes. Zim begins blushing even more than he already was. The human pushes his hips onto Zim's and grabbed his hips. I meant lips. Oh, the human pushes his lips onto Zim's and grabs his hips. The Urkin had no clue what this was, but he loved it. He needed more. It was almost like a drug to him. He instinctively did that into the kiss, wrapping his arms around Dib's neck. He suddenly felt Dib's tongue press onto his lips, asking for entry. Zim obliges, I can't say that, opening his mouth and allowing the tongue to explore every groove in his mouth. Dib was so happy he finally was able to kiss Zim. The two continue for what seems like hours before pulling apart. Both boys were gasping for air. The two arrive in the lab. "Why don't we go to my bedroom?" Zim says. This was music to Dib's ears. The two walk into the bedroom and insert alarm noise. Dib awakens from his sleep, jumping up to hear his alarm going off. It shocked him at first, but as he got more aware of his surroundings, the sadder he became. It was just a dream, but it felt so good, so real. Dib mumbles in disappointment. He wished this was real, but fortunately it wasn't. Zim knew nothing about growing up, so he doubted the Urkin would know about love either. He continued to get ready for the day. He picked out his usual outfit to wear, then got ready for his shower. During the shower, all Dib could think about was the dream he had. He wanted this to happen so badly. It was so hard to hide his emotions, especially around Zim. He finished his shower and got out. The human dried himself off, gelled his hair, got dressed, put on cologne, and headed downstairs to eat. Gaz was sitting at the table, and his dad was nowhere in sight. His dad usually is at the house once a week, so seeing him was pretty normal. Not seeing him was pretty normal. Dib sighs and sits down at the table. School starts at 8, and it was 7 as of now, so he had more time to get ready. "Hey, Gaz," Dib said, sounding exhausted. Gaz looked up from her game slave 2 at her brother, then looked down. "You look tired," she states, and the truth was that he was very tired emotionally. He just wanted the feelings to stop festering. Dib nods in response. "I had a weird dream about Zim last night. We kissed, And, Dib, you're a teen. You have a crush on him. This is normal. You have a wet dream or something. You're fine. Gas says angrily, interrupting the conversation. It was one, Dib stutters in embarrassment. TMI, Dib. TMI. Gas responded. The two continued to get ready for the day. The boy grabs some cereal and pours it into a bowl. Suddenly, a robot appeared. Fudio 3000 has already made breakfast out of love. What is love? The robot said. This robot was named Fudio 3000. Just ignore the background noise, please. Dib's dad designed it to feed the kids while he's gone. He wasn't around enough to make sure the kids had their proper meals. For some reason, the robot constantly asked questions about love. Not sure what happened there. Dib shakes his head in response and pours the cereal back in. Fudio 3000 opens the oven on his stomach to reveal cinnamon rolls. One of Dib's favorite foods. The cinnamon smell and, the frosting smelled even better. Dib smiled in anticipation. Once he was handed the food, he gobbles it up. That was the first good meal he's had all week. A little while later, he puts his shoes on and follows guys out the door. Unfortunately, it was raining. The human knew Zim couldn't handle rain. He hesitates, thinking if not whether to bring an umbrella or not. Dib begins walking and starts a conversation with his sister. Hey guys, I'm going to pick up Zim. After all, it's raining and I know the rain hurts him. Maybe I can get to know him a little bit more, too, Dib says. Gaz nods in response, and the boy ran back to the house and grabbed the umbrella. It was a dark pink umbrella with black lightning bolts on it, so it matched Zim's colors pretty well. Once he grabbed the umbrella, he was off to his crush's house, eager to see the alien. Meanwhile, at Zim's house, Zim had been asleep for hours. Zim never knew when he would wake up, but his questions were answered when he began to open his eyes. His hearing was very muffled. He lay still for a few minutes when his hearing finally came back. Both antennas twitched like getting used to his surroundings. Healing process complete, a voice says from his pack. Zim groans and sits up. He feels a little lightheaded, but is otherwise fine. He rubs his eyes and stands up to get ready. He walks over to where his disguise is and puts on his wig, adjusting it to fit his head. He then grabs his contacts and hesitantly puts them in his eyes. I hate these pathetic lenses. They're so scratchy, Zim mutters. Once he finished putting on his disguise, he grabs a bag of chips from his pantry and begins eating it. Ergen had ordered Gerd to pick up groceries from the food market down the street a few days ago. Almost all the food on Earth tasted disgusting. He couldn't eat meat since it burned his skin. Water had the same effect. Other foods just tasted gross. Chips were the closest thing to food on Earth. Once he finished eating, he looked at the time. It was 7:30. Shoot! Zim is going to be late. He yells. I don't want to yell. Zim was going to check the weather when he got outside, but unfortunately, it was raining. It was already raining. The alien totally forgot to put on his pace, which helped his resistance to water. He didn't realize this until he stepped out into the rain and felt immense pain. Ow! Zim yelled. Smoke could be seen coming off of him. He ran back inside and slammed the door and walked over to the kitchen, where Gur sat making a mess. He had dumped a bunch of flour on the table and was slammed his face in it. Zim sat down and sighed. He didn't like being in pain. Now he had to take his disguise off, dry himself off, heal a bit more, put on pace, and then out the door. It would be too late before he got to school. Zim groaned. He didn't want to be in any pain today, so he would use the pod for healing today. It could heal wounds really fast. The wounds on the Urkin had weren't enough for his pack to work on them, so this was his second option. Grr, keep watch for any intruders while I'm in the lab. Don't let anyone in, Zim orders. Grr's eyes from a blue to a red. Yes, master, I obey, the robot salutes. Then his eyes went back to normal. Grr is seen running to the couch to watch TV with Minnie Moose. Oh. Zim shrugs and walks off to the elevator. It had just finished being reconstructed, and it was a lot bigger than before. As he arrives to the pod, he opens the door and lays down aside, making sure to close the door behind him. Feeling the healing already take place, he lies down, making sure not to move a muscle. He closes his eyes, giving them rest. Meanwhile, with Dib. The rain was practically pouring down at this point, which was concerning to Dib. Hopefully the Urkin had not left yet, although it was getting pretty late. Dib walks up at a faster pace to the base to get there faster. After a minute or two, he arrives. Regrettably, the gnomes pointed lasers at Dib. He had dealt with the gnomes trying to get into the base multiple times. These guys didn't mess around. He ducked with a laser fired at him, skimming the scythe-like shape of his hair. The boy quickly noticed Grr in his dog costume running around a tree in the yard. A plan then comes into his head. Dib whistles and orders Grr to come over behind a fence. Hi, Mary, the robot in disguise said. Hey, Grr, where is Zim home? Dib asked. Grr nods. Master is in the lab. Can I come in? Dib inquires. Grr's silently eyes turn red. Intruder! He screams. This wasn't good. Dib knew he would have to find another way to get inside. Hey, we can make tacos after school, but I have to go see Zim first to make sure he's sure it's okay that I come over. I'll be just a second, Dib says. Grr's eyes go back to normal. A big smile appears on his face. Yay, tacos! The robot cries. Grr presses a button that disarms the security gnomes, allowing Dib to walk in the house. He walked over to the elevator since Zim's robot told him he would be in the lab. Dib could easily fit in the space now, thankfully. Once he got down to the lab floor, he looked around. Zim was nowhere in sight. Where was he? Dib continued to walk around until he spots a door that was halfway open. He'd never seen this door before. He walked through the door and saw Zim laying in the pod, unconscious. His eyes widen in shock. He runs over and opens the door to the pod. Zim? Zim! Dib screams. Zim wakes up, jumping and accidentally hitting his head. Ow! Zim groaned. He looked over and saw the human there in a state of shock. How did the human get in the house? Grr must have done something. Get out, pathetic worm baby! The alien shouts. Dib relaxes knowing Zim was alright. His personality seemed the same. What were you doing in there? I thought you were dead, Zim states. Zim just looked over in confusion. No, Zim was not dead. I was just healing. My superior self was going out for school when it was raining. I forgot to put on my paste this morning, so I got injured and burned. This pod helps me heal, Zim said in a solemn tone. Dib nodded in understanding. You really scared me there. I was worried about you, Dib admits. Why would you be worried about Zim? The Urkin shouts. Dib realizes his mistakes of admitting he cares about Zim and shuts up. He blushes. Get out of the way! Well, we are late for school. I brought an umbrella so we can walk together without getting rained on much. I would put your paste on, though, Dib said. No. Zim didn't understand why Dib was being so nice to him, giving him protection from harm. Why do you want to help, Zim? Zim finally speaks. Dib tries to think of an answer. He knows he has feelings for the alien, but that's really it. Finally, a proper answer comes into his head. Zim, it's because I'm done fighting with you. I've realized over the years that we aren't getting any younger. No matter how much we fight, nothing gets accomplished. You don't seem to be doing Earth harm yet. So I want to take the opportunity to know more about you. I want to be friends. Dib blushes, finally revealing part of his feelings. Zim stood there, shocked. The Dib human wanted to be friends? What if he's like that weird kid Keith, who always bothered him? Zim shall partake this friendship thing, but not on the one condition. Do not act like that pathetic Keith, Zim says. Why did Zim not like Keith? Dib thought to himself before speaking. Why do you not like Keith? Dib asked. Zim shuddered at the thoughts of Keith being creepy. Because he'd always stalk me. He always would follow me around, stopping everything I did to be around him. He would come to my house all the time. No matter how many times I got rid of him, he always comes back. Zim confesses. He hadn't told anyone about this. That sounds so much like the stuff I do to you. Pooh, I'm so sorry, Dib says. He notices Zim's posture decline, going to a more isolated posture. But it feels so right when you do it, Dib human. I don't care if you do it. It's when others do it. Maybe we were always friends but didn't know it, Zim says. He took the last sentence right out of Dib's mouth. He was going to say the same thing, as if asking to give a handshake. Friends, Zim says. His 3-fingered hands meet Dib's, and they shake hands. He starts blushing once he let go of his hand, and didn't know why. Was that romantic feeling again? He shook his thoughts out of his head when he heard Dib spoke. Now that means I could do this, Dib said before pulling Zim into a hug. At first, the alien was taken aback by this act. Zim had never experienced the hug, but when Dib's arms wrapped around his back, he never wanted him to let go. He waited a few seconds, then returned a hug, wrapping his arms around Dib's back. This hug felt amazing. The two let go after a few seconds of hugging. Both stand awkwardly, blushing intensely. Why don't you go put your paste and disguise on and we can head to school, Dib asks. Zim agrees and does so. Once he was ready, Dib opens the door and holds the umbrella outside for the door so Zim can walk outside safely. As Zim walks under the umbrella, he notices a new feeling. He loved being protected, knowing that a friend was protecting him from harm. Rain made his insides feel all warm. Dib walked alongside Zim under the umbrella, and the two boys headed off to school. Today is going to be a great day, Dib thinks to himself. Today will be a great day. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter. It is the end of this video, but overall I hope you enjoyed. Again, not mine. The story will be linked down below in the description. Bye!